Welcome, everybody, to another Nature's Wellness Symphony talk. I'm Tammy from Lines Arise, and I've got Denise Bierman with me today again from Fontes Wellness. Denise, I'm sure they're quite familiar with us already in this talk. So today we're going to be talking about the excretory system. And I was saying to you, Denise, before the time, I was quite surprised everything that's involved in that excretory system. So it's going to be interesting to just see, have a look at how we can once again have that wholeness in our bodies, the optimal health, and do it in the natural way. And so we know that the excretory system is essential for maintaining the homeostasis in the body, because it removes all the waste from the body. So if those parts of the body and those organs aren't functioning, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So Denise, having said that, I'm going to give over to you to,
Cool. So as always, let's start with a rundown of what the excretory system or the body system consists out of. Main organs would be the kidneys, the bladder, the urethra, and the skin. But other systems as well is the lungs, because of it expels carbon dioxide and some water or water vapors, actually. And then the liver, because the liver also processes toxins and waste, and then it converts them into forms that can be excreted. So there are some issues that we encounter. There are many, but I'm just mentioning a few, like body odors, edema, gallstones, UTIs, and even uterine cancer that are some of the illnesses or diseases, as they say, that can affect this body system if it doesn't work properly. But as we've seen before, it's body, soul, spirit. Everything affects everything. Something doesn't just work by itself. And what I find very interesting is what the Bible has to say about the kidneys. It calls them the reins, R-E-I-N-S. It's the kidneys, and that is the seat of emotions and moral judgment. Very interesting to think that your kidneys think. Psalm 26:2 speaks of that. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. Try my reins and my heart. So it symbolizes that there's something deep in our inward parts of a person that's associated with emotions and thoughts. And we do know that the heart is responsible for thinking. It's a thinking organ. And then also the kidney.
Spirit connection.
Yes, there's definitely a connection there. Yes, a lot of things connecting there. Then examine, it's something that Yahweh examines. According to Jeremiah 17, verse 10, it says, I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. So there's a private, most hidden aspect of a person that is not seen by the world, but Yahweh sees it, and he kind of judges it. And I know from Arthur Burke's work that the kidneys are also, they make covenants. And I find that very interesting. I don't know if you have something that you would like to add at this point.
Yeah, I think it's just for the kidneys, that it's the body's filters, right? And if we think that it filters around 50 gallons of blood daily, removing the waste and the excess fluids, right? Produces urine. And they also regulate our blood pressure and maintain the electrolyte balance in the body, which means they're very central to our overall health. So just wondering, what you've just said now, that the Lord looks at those, inward parts. So there's something central about the kidneys, not only to our health, but for our whole body, but also seems like pertains to our spirit as well. And if that's also part of where our emotions sit, maybe we can consider when things are going wrong with our kidneys, UTIs, things like that. So I've noticed if I have a UTI, I always try and think, okay, what happened the day before? If I wake up suddenly and I'm like, oh, where did this come from? I've examined my emotions, and often something happened the day before. So there was either a fear response, I was emotional, or there was something that happened that triggered it. And we know a lot of other things can trigger it as well, but I just find that interesting that we've got that incredible mind-body connection.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, there's the psychomatic, what is it?
Yeah.
Somatic blockages.
Mm.
One of the results of having such a blockage is a UTI. So definitely emotional stresses, whatever it is, play a role in UTIs.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that they enter into contracts, your kidneys, on your behalf. So it's a strange concept, because we don't think about it like that. We think about our brain being the thinking organ, and it does all the work. But meantime, the brain is just processing stuff. The heart is actually the thinking organ. A lot of decisions are made by the heart, and the brain just carries out what goes through the heart, because everything gets pumped through the heart, the blood, and it circulates throughout the whole body. And it affects everything. And there's your kidneys making contracts on your behalf, and it's the hidden stuff that actually affects your life. There's no getting around
that. The kidneys making contracts on your behalf or covenants is also linked to the spirit. It's a spiritual contract, a spiritual covenant that's taking place.
Yeah, and they give the decision. So things that happen in the night, they have the ability to make a decision, and you wake up knowing an answer to a question. So you can propose a question to yourself at night that your kidneys need to process for you, and in the morning there will be a result. If they function and they're not captured, or anything else is wrong with them.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely. Then the obvious one is the stresses. Chronic stress plays out as adrenal fatigue. It's one of the effects of chronic stress is adrenal fatigue, which puts pressure on the kidneys to detoxify effectively or efficiently. And I think a lot of us have that from a lot of stresses that's just continuous, that there's fatigue going around. Adrenal fatigue is not the only one that plays a role in fatigue, the mitochondria and all of that. But it's interesting that it definitely does play a role in fatigue because of stress. Then elevated cortisol hinder normal kidney function, so it would affect the gut-liver axis. Emotional trauma, again, affects the vagus nerve, and then the vagus nerve plays a role in the stomach with the peristalsis, not the stomach, the intestine. So it slows down the movement in the peristalsis and all of that. So elimination doesn't happen the way it should happen. That would cause constipation or other waste removal issues. And then, as we've mentioned, psychosomatic blockages can result in water retention. So edema was one of the things. The frequent urinary infections, and then obviously skin eruptions. But we know that the skin is basically telling us what goes on inside the body.
Yeah. And so obviously within this whole process as well, the excretory system, it's really important to be getting in good water as well. Enough water. Taking in the electrolytes so that the water can actually get into the cells.
Yes, and get the lymph moving.
Yeah. So getting
have a happy liver.
Yeah, it's so important. We look at all these areas. And I was really interested when I listened to a talk on water and salts by Barbara Neal, like
Oh, yes.
how incredible water is for your body. But the fact that so many of us drink so I've only kind of learned this year, also, using the LifeWave patches to keep your body properly hydrated, to have the enough electrolytes in your body because of that electrical circuit that needs to work properly so that your body's natural light can, do what it's supposed to do. But for years and years and years, my family knows me. I carry my water bottle around everywhere with me. I need my water. And I often had that question, if I drink so much water, why do I sometimes still feel dehydrated? Are we all the time, just to put it out there, because that's what happens, right, when we drink a lot of water. And then listening to Barbara Neal saying that if you're urinating out all your water, it's not going into your cells. You need to have the salt. You need to have the electrolytes that you need to get that water into your cells so that it can help the body because we know the body's 80% water. So that whole excretory system actually relies on the body having enough to also excrete, if you know what I'm saying, but then also eliminate the toxins.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely. Water is absolutely critical for life and survival, but having the electrolytes in it. I mean, the water in the cells basically is where a lot of your, if I speak under correction now, where a lot of your memory is situated, and the water in your cells affects your DNA as well. So water plays a massive role throughout your whole body because we're 70-80% water beings.
Yeah, and then blockage, it stops entry into that cell as well. On the outer wall, when there's toxins in the body, whether it be environmental toxins or stuff that we're taking in, through our food, or just what we're not doing that we should be doing to keep ourselves healthy.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, water is massive. And we know kidneys, somehow for me, kidneys and water, they're kind of connected. It feels like if you don't have enough water, there's something, that doesn't go right with your kidneys.
Guts. Yeah, your guts as well, because your guts are important as well. And if we don't have enough, water pulling through to the gut, it can't work properly either. That's why we need those good carbs, the vegetables that's, got that soluble fiber that can create the bulk in your bowel to get that properly. Because we know that if the bowel's not moving properly, you're sluggish, you're tired, you're bloated, because I know when I get to that point, I just feel not good at all. I feel like I don't want to eat. You can just feel you clogged up, something's got to move, something doesn't feel right. So it's so important. And then it affects your serotonin as well, because our serotonin is produced in the gut. Most of it is produced in the gut. So if you've got an unhealthy digestive system and you're not eliminating properly and things aren't working properly, you're going to be not in a good space again emotionally as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a whole cycle. It's actually quite interesting to see how the body works. But then when you run into issues because we don't look after it properly, then it's quite a complex situation to try and sort it out.
That's right.
And get it healed and healthy again because of all the multi-layers that there's to the body. If I look at essential oils and what they can do, it's actually amazing how they are put together. And yeah, I just absolutely love using them because they address things. If you think of cedarwood, because cedarwood is grounding, it helps the excretory system because it grounds you and it helps to manage stress. It helps to support the lymphatic system so that you can also have flow. And it's just wonderful how the natural things just work with our bodies. Obviously, you have to be responsible in using them, but yeah, it's just amazing what is placed around us in nature that we can use to help support our bodies in conjunction with taking good quality, clean water with electrolytes.
And what sort of oils are useful for our excretory system?
Okay, so other than cedarwood, we've got juniper berry. Juniper berry is great for detoxing, which is good for the bladder and for edema. Because of the antibacterial actions that are found in essential oils, so good in general for the bladder. Fennel for kidney stones, but in general, it encourages the movement of waste through the intestines and it promotes proper digestion. Cypress is lovely because it strengthens the kidneys. It helps with incontinence and cystitis as well. Lemon is great for cleansing emotional blockages because, as we've seen, that plays a role in, for instance, bladder function, which we mentioned earlier. Emotional blockages can cause a UTI to just go next level. And I think it's because of that drop in the immune system, because of our emotions, these like parasites and the bacteria then jumps at that opportunity to take over. So it feels like a wall sometimes. It's just great.
Thank you for opening the door for me. In I come. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then herbs, there are some great herbs that one can use as well. Dandelion root, which supports liver detox and promotes healthy function. Burdock root, which is a blood purifier. Blood purifiers are great in general. Frankincense and myrrh, also known as blood purifying oils, or I won't call them herbs, but yes. That's burdock root also helps to support the kidney and urine output, because that is important too, that the urine moves through, and helps to clear the toxins through your skin. Aloe vera juice, we all know about aloe vera juice. It's good for constipation. It promotes digestive health, and it also helps with the elimination process. And then good old parsley. Great antioxidant. It has vitamins and it helps to flush out those excess fluids.
Cool. And so with the application of those, so let's go back to the oils. Would that be diffusing, inhaling, topically? So I know sometimes you can rub the oil on your tummy around your belly button. I think I read somewhere bergamot as well is good for that.
Well, bergamot's calming, yeah.
Yeah, it was. So how would you apply those oils? And then when you talk about the herbs, would that be orally? Would it be in teas? What would that look like?
Okay, so let's go to the essential oils. The essential oils you can apply on various relevant areas. I have a blend for adrenal fatigue, so you can apply it on the adrenals specifically, or certain pulse points in your body. But I also like applying things to the right ear, because many of our problems are emotional in root or comes from childhood years, and the right ear is linked to every single organ, but also that emotion center of things that carry throughout all of forever. So pulse points are good, specific areas are also good, and targeted towards the organ that is giving you the problems. You can use them internally as well. So, these oils, depending on what and the concentrations, you can use some of them internally as well. But there you have to be, don't just do it. Always dilute it with a carrier oil. I'm not a fan of just pure oils. In a capsule, it must be diluted with a powder or a carrier oil, so you can take it internally as well. Diffusion is great. It's a great way for it to get into your body, because you breathe it in. The moment you breathe it in, your body turns it into an electrical signal, and it goes to, well, everything is electrical. So, and the body then just works towards it works on the negative frequency that it generates in your body. So it comes in at that level as well. So breathing is actually a great way to get something in. It's usually your safest modality, as well as topical. Well, all three is great. And then the herbs come in to give extra support. So essential oils will have certain constituents, but a herb, if it's in a powdered form or even a tea form, brings something else to the table. So between the two, you get a fuller, more holistic combination that helps to support your body.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And then, then parasites. Parasites, not necessarily the main cause for something like a UTI, but definitely they can play a role. It's mostly bacteria, but it feels like parasites has a big role to play. And we seem to think, oh, we're dirty if we've got parasites. And I think we've mentioned it once or twice before. But because it keeps the immune system so busy, and we are not in that practice that the older generations had been of cleansing our bodies from parasites, we struggle with it. And I think there's more of it these days in our environment than we actually think or believe. So a general detox of all sorts of parasites and using different protocols, I think, is great. And not just the short period, but at least for 3 months to get rid of them so that the body's in a better position to fight certain things. So for that, I like clove and wormwood, black walnut hull, because they detox, or cloves deal with parasite eggs, which is great. Wormwood is anti-parasitic, and it cleanses the digestive system, which is great. Then papaya seeds. When was the last time you ate papaya seeds?
No.
They're extremely better.
Crushed
and
or
after, hey?
Crushed or whole?
Whole. You eat the papaya, those black seeds in there, which we scoop out and throw away.
Yeah.
Extremely bitter. I'm thinking that everything that's bitter is good for a parasite to get rid of them.
Yeah, because those that you mentioned as well, I know I've used them. They're really bitter. I've used it as a tincture in water and drink that. It tastes awful, but I know I've done that cleanse and I remember how ill I felt using it. So that just told me as well how much my body needed it because I felt so ill. You know, you get that response from that, the detox response. So I think it's really important.
No, definitely. I had a parasite the other day. I had a papaya the other day, and I ate all the seeds that are in the inside. But because something said to me it is good for parasites, and then I did some research, and it does help for parasites. And they say that they dry them in certain regions to help against malaria as well. But I don't have specific proof of that. I just heard it a few years back. So what's extremely sad to me today is the fruits and that we get that do not have seeds in them. That's to me a great concern.
Yeah.
Because that is not how they were made. Yes, for many of us it's inconvenient that there's a seed in there because I don't want a nachi pip or I don't want an apple pip in there.
Seedless grapes.
Yes, or the grapes or what, all of that. And us being inconvenienced is causing problems for our bodies. Or scooping out those papaya seeds and throwing them away. A friend of mine asked me the other day, where'd you buy those papayas? Because I'm not finding any papayas with seeds anymore. That's to me a great concern because we are, for convenience sake, messing with things that we should not be messing with. And nature is as and more complex than our bodies, and these two work in synergy. And yes, it's causing problems that sometimes we just don't have solutions for.
That's right. Now, when man starts messing with things, then yeah, everything seems to go wrong, doesn't it? It comes out of that natural design and order that God has put in place.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And he's done that for a specific reason. I mean, everything is just wonderfully connected. The more you learn, the more in awe you are of what he's done and how he's doing it. And we just plod along instead of looking after and taking control in a godly way. We kind of just mess it up for convenience sake. Definitely something worth pondering about. Then neem oil is also great. It's a strong antiparasitic and also supports liver in detox. So you can have the powders in a capsule, you can put the powders in a smoothie, or you can have the tincture. So there are various ways of taking them. I would not drink a clove tea, I think, if anybody brings out one of those. I don't think they do. And then diatomaceous earth. It tastes like sand, but people swear by it. That have the courage to drink it every day for a month or 2 or 3, and they don't have parasites, and they are generally more healthy. When a health scare comes, and your body has dealt with these things that keeps it busy, you're in a way better position to deal with it than you would be if you have all these things piled on top of you. So yes, emotions are part, but I do believe parasites, fungus, mold, all these strange invaders, heavy metals news, they just keep our body so busy, and they ought not to be in there. We don't do proper house cleaning anymore, and we don't have systems that we implement throughout a year to make sure that we get rid of those basics, because I think they're supposed to be basics, and in modern society we think all is good and all is not necessarily good.
Yeah, so it keeps the body busy, and then that means when the body actually really needs to fight something, it can't, because the immune system's compromised, and the body's been so busy fighting all the parasites, the fungus, and the mold, that it's missing other areas that are vital, right? It makes me think of when we are very emotional, and we're running in our emotional brain, the limbic system, right? Our nervous system is totally overwhelmed. It takes so much energy. So our body, our nervous system is paying attention to that hypervigilance the whole time. And so its focus is there. So we're fatigued, we're tired, we got brain fog, we can't think straight because the body is so busy managing this. It can't deal with the prefrontal cortex that takes a lot of energy, that helps us to think, that helps us to calm up. We need to engage that parasympathetic nervous system, but we can't because we're so busy running in the emotional state. So it's the same in the body, right? But the fighters in the body so busy fighting the wrong things, the same as the way our system is busy fighting all the emotions, the thoughts, the everything. And when it comes to us needing our full faculties, they're not there. When it comes to us needing our immune system to fight something, we're compromised. So it takes a lot of getting used to actually thinking in this way, not only being mindful about our thoughts, but actually being mindful about our bodies, what we put in. Like I was thinking today, I had to pop out to the store, and I passed all the sweet aisles. And the jelly aisles, and they got the little candy stations, they tempt all the kids. And I was just thinking to myself, like, why? I know many years ago when I wasn't really mindful, I'd probably stop off there and buy myself a few jellies, and my daughter was little, I'd buy her something, and there'd always be sweets in the cupboard. Now I'm like, sugar's the enemy, right? So I'm not saying I deny myself, but I know that I don't want to go down those aisles because I know nothing good is in those aisles. If you see what's in the food, I read all the food labels. I check for fillers, if I buy vitamins, I check all that stuff. So it takes time to learn to become more mindful of these things. Even the parasites, fungus, mold, we don't always think about that, because we're just eating, we're going about our day, we're breathing stuff in, we forget to maybe wash our hands after we've been out, and then we're touching our face and we're touching our mouth, and we're doing all these things, and we don't realize that what we're doing, that our body is going to be affected by that. But it takes some time to get used to that, being mindful as well with our bodies. It's not easy.
And the whole water thing is a problem. We have a triple filter system there where I work at the weavery a few days a week, and that broke down, and they fixed it, or not fixed it, but they cleaned up the whole system. And then the one gentleman brought me 3 glasses of water. One is tap water, one is the water from yesterday, and then one is after it was triple filtered. I cannot tell you how horrified I was at looking at our tap water. I mean, I live in a place where we get a lot of water from the mountains. And the moment it goes through the system, there's some brown stuff. If that's the glass, 2/3 is brown stuff that's like jelly-like floating in there after the water settled. The rest is not, it's murky. And you think, how's this possible?
And you drink the tap water where you are. Are you able to drink the tap water, or do they say you are able to drink the tap water?
Of course, they say you're able to drink the tap water. Luckily, we can access mountain water in the past. So a lot of people do go out and get mountain water. And you have these cans in the house. But in general, a lot of people, they say you can drink the water. But I can't see how that's good for you. And somehow it gets messed up from pure rain in the mountain that I can see it's right outside the door. You get a lot of water from there. And by the time it comes out of the tap, it looks like that. So there's what I'm trying to say with that, there's a battle to get the right things into your body these days. Because not even bottled water are always good for you, because that stuff's been standing in the sun. Some of them have no life in it at all. It needs to have a structure in it. It needs to have life. We know that pumps take structure out, so that's also a bit of a problem. Never mind dirty water. So there's a battle just to get the basics into your body these days. But water is very important, and I think it's a basic thing that everybody needs to have access to.
Yeah, that's right. So Denise, just in closing, is there anything else that you want to add before we close?
No, I think we've walked through the whole system, and we touched on things that are important, like emotions, what the Bible has to say about the kidneys and our emotions, how that affects our lives. Water, how important water is for our bodies and for our body systems, and that it's important to start taking note and be aware of what's going on around you, so that you don't think you're just drinking good quality of something, and then in the end you are not putting something good into your body. And it ties into what you said, is checking the ingredients and seeing what's in something. It's a journey to start, and you don't have to get overwhelmed. You start everything step by step, and you just build on that. But that we have to be mindful of what's going on around us, what is going on inside of us, because it affects our lives. That is definitely true.
So I think just in closing, I want to share, like I always do, on the redemptive gifts, and this is also from the work of Arthur Burke, but the servant gift is what's related to the excretory system, because the excretory system is responsible for removing waste and toxins from the body. The servant gift is wired to serve others and remove toxic waste from their lives, such as emotional or relational issues. And so people with a servant gift have an innate ability to identify obstacles and remove them that hinder others from achieving their full potential. They have a strong sense of compassion and are willing to take on menial tasks to help others, right? Just like the excretory system. They are often behind the scenes and they not noticed. We don't see them going about their business. Yet, their contribution is so vital for the overall health and well-being of the body. And then people with the servant gift also struggle with being undervalued or unappreciated, much like how our excretory system is overlooked, right? We just take it for granted that things have to work until they don't work. And so it's just interesting. And I know the servant gift as well is a vital gift. It's not I'm going to be a doormat gift. The servant gift is so vital to the prophet gifting as well. So that servant role actually plays a very vital, important role in the body of Christ in terms of their authority, because they actually have a lot of authority. So, if you look at our excretory system, it has a lot of authority, because it's vital to our body, and if it doesn't work, we're in trouble.
Oh, absolutely. As you say, the servant has high authority, and specifically high authority over death. So imagine that, yeah.
So it's just interesting to see how God has weaved us together. We really are spirit, soul, body. So I just love that. So I think in closing, we just want to say thank you, Denise, for your time again today. I think we've just given a little bit of information to think about, that people are just more mindful of their bodies and, what needs to happen in order for us to be healthy as well, and strengthen our immune systems, especially with everything that's going on nowadays in the world.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's very important. And yes, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Our bodies are made to heal itself. We just need to give it the right tools, and it will do that. And we need to look around and, be wise and think about what we're thinking about and think what we put into our bodies. And it's true for all of us. You don't get it right 100% of the time, all of the time. You don't. But, it's better to do something than do nothing, because the body can work with what you give it.
Yeah, that's right.
The good things.
Yeah. Okay, so thanks.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yeah. Until next time.
Yes, thanks.